Hello, beautiful people. I am so excited to come to you today to talk about a conversation that I have with so many, I'm so passionate about, but I really want the world to take this more seriously. And that is because all of the solutions you're looking for anything in your life sit on the other side of this topic. We hear the word all the time, stress. We do many things that we feel is managing our stress. Quite often, people will say to me, I'm actually not that stressed. It's just a little bit here and there. What we don't realize is we've actually lived for so long under a chronic stress condition that we think that's our new normal. And what's wrong with that if we've adapted to it or we think we have adapted to it? We haven't. We have in our brain a little bit, but our body hasn't at all. And it is not evolved enough to adapt to this new way of life. So we need to revert this. If there's anything you're trying to achieve, if it's weight loss, if it's energy, if it's better health or better sleep, if it's a actual health condition you want to reverse or help improve, you need to start here. This needs to be your first step. You need to get on top of this. You need to resolve this. You actually need to change the status of the stress in your life, in your body, for all these other things to take part. Because the truth is, and we know this, we hear it all the time. I think we just don't take it in as serious enough is that our immune system doesn't function when we're stressed. Our digestive system doesn't function the same way when we're stressed. Our fat burning does not function at all when we're stressed. So, if we're trying to fix some of these regular everyday things we're trying to achieve, it is impossible. It doesn't matter whether you took the best vitamins in the world or the most miraculous medical discovery. The fact is, if your body is in a stress state, even if it's a low grade chronic state, it has reduced all these functions to its minimum until you're out of that state. If you never come out of that state, then those things don't work effectively. So even vitamins, even medicine, your body's not going to be absorbing it and using it like it normally would. The healthy food you're eating, it's not taking in the vitamins and minerals that it could. When you're sleeping, it's not restoring and regenerating you like it normally should. So everything you're trying to achieve, you're working against yourself at all times. If we don't reverse, if we don't find a more balanced homeostasis level for our body where stress is more of a up and down function versus a consistent across the board, always happening, low grade, underlying, just sort of exists there state. We are meant to be exposed to a stressful situation, react to it, deal with it, and then rest and relax and regenerate so that we are able to well manage the next time it happens. Here's the other thing that happens is we actually aren't in a problem solving creative position when we're in a stress state. So when we do encounter a problem, we actually don't react in the best way we could. Have you ever felt frazzled and overworked or exhausted and you're confronted with the smallest little thing and it just feels like everything falls apart? That's exactly what's happening. You aren't able to even look at things like their their rational level of complexity. You also aren't able to see solutions or look for solutions. So you want to solve this problem, and then everything you do past that point falls right into place. It's all so much easier. So join me for the rest of this episode and let's talk about how we fix this situation. So I'm also going to take you through this as you're traveling through your day. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we think of stress management as going to a massage therapist or going out with friends and having lots of laughs and fun, or doing something really self-indulgent and chilling, or even going away for a weekend. And all of those are good. The problem being is that when we're in this chronic state, we're exposed to stress all day long, every day. And so we want to reverse that position, that normal state we're in. And what happens is if we do this, big long day of relaxation, or we go once a month to for a nice massage, all of that's great, but it's not consistent enough to break this habitual place we're in, because it's happening all day long, every day. And so you need to start to make your day different. The nice thing is, and I would say a lot of like young parents, or extensively professional, high achieving people always feel that whatever else is in their life is hindering their ability to change this. And especially if what you do is very time consuming, like as a parent, you're a parent all day long, every day, that it's impossible to take the time out of every day to implement something to break this habit. But the truth is, it isn't about doing that. It is about changing how you go through your day, how you do things in your day, and the little pieces you can go in that just chip away a little bit at a time, that chemical reaction, that homeostasis, that's sort of the situation of your whole body that just slowly pulls you back from that chronic situation that you're used to living in. And as your body starts to feel these little pieces of chill, I like to call them, where you just feel a little decompression, it will be able to get back there faster each time it's exposed to it. So, literally, if it's a 2-second exposure repeated over and over and over, you will all of a sudden, every time, get a little 2-second burst or help getting back into that place. And once you continue to do this, all of a sudden getting there becomes a little more natural, because it's like your body's like, oh, that's what they want. Oh, I've been there before. I remember that. And so at first it seems a little bit hard, and it seems like maybe it's not working, but it's one of those things that it's not about blocking out this huge amount of time and sitting in meditation and forcing yourself to clear your brain. It's so not about that. It's about getting into that place of feeling in your body, about that moment that you do over and over and over. And all of a sudden, your body's so familiar with that that it's able to take you there easier and faster. And the more you do that, just imagine what's starting to happen. All those normal functions in your body start to go, oh, okay, well, things are good, things are balanced. Let's start to work on boosting the immunity in our system. Let's take a little more time for digestion, and when that happens, then there's more repair in your gut's healthier, it builds more acid that can help break down your food, and all of a sudden you're absorbing more vitamins and minerals that are actually giving you more energy. So those few moments when you went that you think you don't have time for actually gave you more to be able to do more in the end. So that's why you want to take this seriously for so many reasons. And so, if there is any piece of your health that you would like to improve, you need to do this so that anything else you're doing will work more effectively. And so it really starts from the moment we wake up. And very often, for most of us, it's picking up our phone. And it's important to know that so much more is happening when we pick up our phone than just picking up our phone. So even just the blue light that's coming from it, has an ability to start the cortisol rise in our body. And that's really what's increasing our stress response. And we're finding that a lot of people are having a very quick rise in cortisol early in the morning so that it actually peaks too early in the day. And if you're feeling like later in the day, mid afternoon, you sort of have that what feels like a low blood sugar crash, or the evening, you actually have a complete crash, and then you get back up to do things before bed and then have trouble sleeping, you're kind of dealing with this. So, one of the best strategies is actually kind of move into your day with a little more balance and a little more gradual. And so, making your phone not your first response. And I know for some people, they'll say, well, there has to be a quick check. Whatever it is, just try to make it as minimal as possible. And if you can delay it at all, this will all work a lot more effectively. And then the next few pieces take a little bit of time, but I even encourage you to consider them for 30 seconds because each little piece is going to work and you can decide which piece works better for you. So some people will stretch or move around while they're in bed. I even encourage you to sit up because there's actually a lot of physiological processes that are going to happen just as you sit up. And so if you're going to take some time for stretching, like literally 30 seconds, then do it as you're getting out of bed, while you're sitting on the bed, when you stand up, whatever it is, just so there's a little bit of more movement through your body. So it can be raising your arms over your head, it can be doing a bend over or fold over, just to kind of get the juices flowing through your body and some of the joints moving and the juices flowing to those joints. That's a really effective way to help your body move through the next few steps. One thing that can be done that's so effective at triggering the right amount of cortisol increase through your morning is going to a window and looking outside. That natural light has such a very calming but natural inducing of the right amount of cortisol to just give you the energy to start your day. And then we have all these other things we do throughout the day, obviously, showering, brushing our teeth, getting dressed, all those kind of things. And so, all you want to do with these things is watch with the energy and the momentum that you do them, because simply doing them in a more mindful, and there's so much talk about mindfulness, just think of it as paying attention to what you're doing. So instead of we're so often thinking about the next thing we have to do while we're getting dressed, or when we're in the shower, we're going through our to do list of the day, if you can find a way to actually just be present with what you're doing, it's very relaxing to your body. And you're taking in all the senses. So, say you're having a shower, the feeling and calming feeling of that water is taken in by all of your mind, body, soul, because you're present with that moment. So, water and showers can have a very calming and refreshing feeling, but we don't get all the benefits from that. So we don't, imagine like our nervous system doesn't receive all the benefits of that sense if we're not present with it. And so when we are, it gets all of that feeling, that energy going through our body, and is then able to release the appropriate hormones that give you that sense of satisfaction, relaxing, good feeling, calming kind of release. But if you don't take it all in, your nervous system doesn't do the same kind of work. And so you just want to be present with all of these things, even brushing your teeth. Just imagine that you want to feel that sense of satisfaction that we sometimes notice and feel after we brush our teeth, but really pay attention to it while you're doing it. And the same goes for eating, or you're drinking your coffee, or whatever it is. You just want to stop. So if you're having food, I'm going to challenge you. It's a tough one for a lot of us because we're really thinking that eating on the go is very effective for us. But stopping and only paying attention to what you're eating is so effective because it also sends the right signals to our stomach, to our digestive system. So, again, the right hormones are released for so many reasons: for fat burning, for digestion, for breaking down our food, for getting absorbing the right vitamins and minerals, especially for us to release the right hormones that tell us when we're satisfied or full. If you're not fully present while you're eating your food, you're not going to get those signals as much and as effectively and as fast as you may want to do. So you could be losing weight just by simply paying attention to what you're eating when you're eating it. It can be that simple. The fact of the matter is, if we don't get our stress down, if we don't find a new balance for ourselves, our body is going to continue with this cortisol level, which is causing this increase in insulin and us therefore having an insulin resistance so that we're not taking it in appropriately. That is also going to be what's going to lead us to the most effective fat burning in our body. It's going to continue the cycle. We're going to continue to look for that glucose that's kind of triggering everything, and you're going to keep craving carbs and sugar so that that keeps being replenished, and the cycle never stops. You can break this whole cycle by balancing that cortisol, bringing your stress down so that balance becomes more natural and easy, and that whole cycle is broken for good. And that's why, if you're looking to have a weight loss program or even just a better nutrition program instituted in your life, you have to make this step, or those are completely fruitless in your efforts. If you've ever felt like you got progress in anything and then lost it, this is where you miss the step. Then your progress is instituted and implanted in as part of you more than it ever is if you don't break this cycle of stress and all the body's reactions that go along with it. So you want to work on this no matter what it is. Further to all of this, as you're traveling through your days, some people say have a coffee break, and very often people don't take it. And I don't think it has to be about going to get a coffee, but if it's about anything, you want to just stop for the 15 minutes. You can do it for 10 minutes or 2 minutes to start. It doesn't really matter about the amount of time. What matters is that you're getting it into your day several times throughout the day that kind of break this cycle of spiking that we're trying to revert. And so if there are these breaks in your day, you don't want to take them, you don't want to go get a coffee, you don't want to go for lunch, it's really helpful if you just stop and do some conscious breathing. And there's a million, I mean, you could Google it in a second and get a million different breathing techniques. At first, it really doesn't matter what you're doing because the point is we actually don't take proper breaths throughout the day. So you want to just stop and do something. I'll give you my best advice for how to do this. I really like it when we take in a long, slow breath. Then you hold the breath for a few seconds, 3 or 4 seconds. That's really when you can imagine your body absorbing the oxygen that you've just taken in. Then you want to let it out really slowly, and then you want to hold while it's out for a few seconds. But how I progress through this with people is you just want to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Then the next breath, you want to take a longer breath in and a longer breath out. Then your next breath, take a breath in, hold it, and then take a long breath out. Next breath, take a breath in, hold it, long breath out, hold it before you breathe in again. And then the very last step that is really going to bring you that profound relaxation, and usually by this point, you're prepped to do it this way. Take a really slow breath in, all the way in through your chest, in through your nose, into your chest, into your belly. Hold it, And now you want the out breath to be longer than your in breath. Make that so long and slow all the way out, pushing in with your abs and your core to get all of the air out. Pause for a few seconds and then repeat. You have brought your system down instantly. And see, the thing is, when we're in sort of more of acute stress state, we don't take the air in the same way, right? You can imagine, people used to always talk about people hyperventilating when they were high stress state. So it's short, shallow breaths. So just by simply stopping to do any kind of breath work is telling your body that it is not in a stress condition. And when your body is getting this sufficient oxygen, it can't send signals of stress through to your body because everything that's being absorbed is telling it that everything is good and safe. That's the signal. It's the pure oxygen. Even if you have to go outside to make it work faster, that pure, fresh oxygen is going to bring everything down. So if all you did throughout the day was stop 3 times to do this, you would have such a profound impact on your system with very, very little effort. And as you go through your day, just imagine all the little places where you can institute these just little chill moments that will decompress, and you're starting to break the pattern. All you're trying to do is take a few seconds here and a minute or two here to break the pattern. Imagine that you're this straight line of a chronic stress, especially if you don't notice it, then you probably are in this acute chronic stress state. And all you're doing is taking these little opportunities for a little blip. They don't have to be time consuming. They can be with you sitting at your desk. They can be with you making supper. And so as you go through the rest of your day, try not to make things a rush. And I have to tell you, I feel a little bit hypocritical saying this because that was me for so long. It was all about multitasking and doing a million things at once and getting more things and getting ahead. You always want to get ahead on your list. But ironically, when we do things in a more present, calming state, we don't make mistakes. If you're ever one of those people who seems to drop things or spill things or feel like they have to undo things they've done because they rushed to try and do it and didn't do it the way they really wanted, you're talking to me because I get it. And so you will start to just try this and test it. You will start to see when you do things a little more methodically, with a little more presence and attention to what you're doing. You don't lose them. You don't undo them. You don't have to redo them. And they seem to go a lot better. But it's also because when you're not rushing, we're taking in more oxygen, calmly doing things, our brain is clearer and we're able to constructively work through these things a lot better. And so they all seem to actually go so much better. And so the things that we feel are always on our mind and working to weigh us down can actually be opportunities to decompress at the same time as while we're having to do them. And so I encourage you to do that. Obviously, with supper, it's a tough one because we feel stressed to have the time to make the supper, but then we also feel stressed to actually sit and enjoy it. I encourage you to just try and find ways to do this. It's so worth it. And even if it's just something you manage to do successfully, as you would like to do it once a week, that's still one more day a week than we are usually achieving it now. So it's very valuable to do. And as you go through the evening, there's a lot to notice here because this is where people, I always hear this saying, oh, I don't want to stop because I'll crash. So we push and push and push. Just know that when you're doing that, you are in such a chronic high state, or you're actually now going above the chronic state of stress to an acute state of stress. So now you've got both, and you are depleting your resources in your system far faster and heavier than you could ever imagine. So your regeneration period, especially even through the night, is so much more difficult than it would be. So sometimes when you stop in the evening and chill and rest for a little bit and feel that lack of ability to kind of get back going again, it actually may not be working against you because your body's already trying to regenerate for you. And so that's why you're sort of lacking that oomph to keep going in the evening. And as much as we think we accomplish so much more by pushing through, we actually aren't, because we're putting ourselves back a few more steps that are going to take harder to recover. And maybe the next evening, you're still feeling that, where had you slowed down or rested and regenerated a few times, you would have been even more motivated to get more done the next evening. When you're feeling you're having to push yourself to keep going, that's when your body actually is telling you it's out of resources. So you're depleting your adrenals to such a low level that sometimes it will take 10 times the effort to get back going. So you're not actually getting ahead like you might think you are. It may feel like it in the moment, but your whole system is going to take that much more effort to get back to where you are. Here's the thing. We only think of sleep as the way to rest and regenerate. So sometimes when we kind of get this system working for us a little bit better, especially in the evening, just taking a pause, like a real pause, not watching the TV or not looking at a to-do list or looking at your phone, taking literally a 2-minute pause to breathe can do more to give you more energy through the evening than any of the other breaks you might be imagining. So it's not about all or nothing. It's not about keeping going or going to bed and sleeping. There's a lot of things you can be doing in the middle, including stretching, including a refreshing glass of water, or maybe a nice calming tea that you think might be working against you because you're stopping, but actually that few minutes can really regenerate and keep you going through the rest of the evening. So consider what you can do to help yourself. Maybe it's 2 minutes of yoga. 2 minutes of yoga is so much more valuable than not doing it at all. We often think we have to do 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And here's the thing. If you're burning out in the afternoons and the evenings like this, then doing your regular 30 minutes or 60-minute gym workout is not exactly what you need right there. I do encourage people to move every day without a doubt. That's what your body wants that. But sometimes when we're kind of in this tough position, when we've kind of got ourselves up against a wall, we just need a couple of days of really gentle, restful movement, and then all of a sudden, you're going to feel that inspiration. We say it's motivation, but I say real motivation is even more powerful. It's inspiration. It's where the energy is so inside us that we can't help but go do that. Have you ever had those days you head to the gym or you head out for a run and you're like, I just so want to go. I feel it inside of me. When you don't have that, something is a little bit depleted. So it is valuable to chill a little bit, step back a little bit, and then allow that feeling inside of you to build back up and push you through. So if every day you're dragging yourself to what you want to do and kind of feeling like you mentally have to push yourself through it, then that's a sign that you're actually burning out and you need to regenerate. And then all of a sudden, you're going to feel this fire where you just can't help but go do it. You want to do it so badly. And then, obviously, my very last tip is going to bed. My best advice here is just build a little bit of a routine, because anything you can do that kind of tells your body, like darkness is sort of our body's natural signal to start producing melatonin to help us sleep. But because of all the lights in our home and the artificial lights on our phones and computers and TVs, we sort of lose that opportunity for our body to build that and get that signal. But you can also recreate it in a few ways by kind of doing a few little things throughout the evening that give your body that reminder. So you're going to have to build this habit so that it continually sees that, oh, this is what they're trying to achieve. And it can be as simple as a relaxing cup of tea. You change into your pajamas, you brush your teeth, you prepare your stuff for the next day, whatever it is. Build those little things you do each evening to kind of settle into your evening or prepare for your next day in a bit of a habit or pattern, so that almost like your body recognizes it then as a signal, and it says, oh, I know what's going to happen as we go through this. They're going to want to sleep. And so it will start to produce the right hormones that rest and relax you and help you sleep through the night. And so that when you go to sleep, you will be maximizing all the rest and regeneration that your body needs through the night. Because a lot of us are waking up tired. And it's because we didn't start this process early enough. And really, this also includes not eating, because when we eat those few several hours before bed, we really can't build this process of rest and rejuvenation like we want to. So if you can kind of take that out of the equation and make it happen early enough so that you can do all these other things effectively, your body will get into the best place it needs when it goes to sleep and do all your work for you. And you should start waking up feeling a little more rested. And then I'm going to tell you this little piece of advice because it really comes as something very personal to me. And when I was getting really sick, not knowing that I was fighting chronic Lyme and slowly being depleted of everything I could do, I was going from being very athletic to having trouble walking, to struggling to read, to remember things, to even move my parts of my body. It was just everything was slowly falling apart. No medical expert could figure out what was happening to me. And after about 3 years, when I finally did some pretty extreme things to finally get somebody who could help me, it struck me is how was I so out of touch with myself, with my actual health? I mean, my background was health. My whole pastime was health and fitness and being in the outdoors. How was it I was so out of touch that I could not or could even be convinced that maybe there wasn't anything wrong with me? And it was this: I never stopped every week, every month, let alone every day, to check in with myself and see how I was doing. And as ridiculous as that sounds, that you should stop each day and say, hey, how you doing? The truth is, isn't it ridiculous that we don't? And so I'm going to encourage you to implement this one routine into your day among all these other things. But in one of the moments where you can stop, do a full body scan. Start at the top of your head and just go through every part of your body and system and see how you think you're doing. It can even be to the point of, you know what? My hair feels like it's a little more dry than it normally is. Maybe I should do something to help it. Are you having headaches? Are your sinuses feeling blocked? Is your neck sore? Even ask yourself, what am I thinking? Like, am I feeling positive these days? Or am I really discouraged and down? Am I feeling defeated? Travel down through your body. How is your heart? Are you sad? Do you feel love? Do you feel love for others? How are you just noticing how that feels inside of you? Is your chest tight? Has your stomach been upset lately? Are you bloated? Are you feeling constipated? Are your hips tight? Are your knees sore? Are your ankles aching? Go through all of your body and you'll start to do this faster and more effectively, but ask yourself everything. And the one part that you notice that probably is the the least functioning or the least effective or doing the worst, ask yourself this one question. What is one thing I have the power to do today to help that part of me? And it could be a hot water blank or a hot water bottle on a sore part of your body. It can be having a refreshing glass of water or a soothing herbal tea. It can be lying down and resting with something on your head with a compress. It can be such a simple thing. Maybe it's listening to inspirational podcasts when you're driving because you're feeling like you're on the go all the time. Maybe it is a favorite food that just makes you feel loved and comforted, or it's a call to a friend. But there's always a simple little thing we can do. And I encourage you, regardless of when you do this scan, to try and do this in the evening. Because truthfully, when our cortisol drops and everything seems depleted in the evening, we are really challenged to help ourselves, to help our nervous system send the right signals, to release the right hormones, to give us that feel good sensation. And we really just feel very defeated and worn out at the end of the day. And so, if you can save this little self care method for you for the end of the day, you will not only start to build this incredible inventory of little things that help you, you will reboot your body so much faster and so effectively that it will profoundly change who you are in this life, how you exist, and how you are able to manage. But you need to go through that thought process every day. And when you can't figure out what to do for yourself to help yourself, then all you say is, I am going to allow myself the opportunity to look for and receive a solution to help myself with this. And you will be shocked because when you start to put yourself in this calming place, you will take note of solutions so much better. You will hear something. Maybe that motivational video will give you a tip or a hint. You'll overhear that water cooler conversation where someone says something. You will be more receptive and perceptive to solutions. You will be more creative in finding problem solving techniques when you just decompress a little bit. And all of a sudden, these little solutions will pop up that are so effective. We assume that it is this big solution we're looking for all the time, and it's not. Thriving comes from little steps, repeated, little habits created, and little solutions that are brought into our scope because we were looking for them. That's how it happens. This is all about prioritizing yourself. It is not about making everything about you all day long to the detriment of someone else, which as parents, we often sort of feel like that's what it's suggesting we do. No, it is prioritizing yourself in every little thing you do throughout the day so that you are so healthy and happy and balanced and energized that you are able to provide the same for all the people around you. That's what prioritizing yourself does. It actually builds such a powerful you that you will be able to support and even demonstrate for others what they can do for themselves. It's an amazing place to be. And my last comment to you is this: it's not perfect. Anytime we are growing and evolving through life, it goes in these funny waves and cycles. So you may have a week where you start to adopt all these little habits and it goes well and it's feeling good. And then you just have a crazy week and a lot of them drop by the wayside. Do not assume that they're lost, because even that week or that day or that 2 minutes that you did do took you one step further into the process. It gave your body one more exposure to what you're trying to achieve, so it's never lost. Regroup, get back, and start to implement. This is how we do it. Prioritizing you is one of the most powerful health steps you will ever make. And remember the promise I made to you. When you do this, everything you do after is achieved so much easier. Prioritize yourself. Much love.